You shut the door on me again last week. You always do it the same way. You say one impossible-sounding thing, and then you stride off into the dark and leave me standing there blinking. And this time the thing you said was, there are forces that aren't there. Costume forces, you called them, the ones you'd been promising me and dodging since the orbit night. Real enough to knock me flat on my back, and yet nothing there. And the very last thing you said before you vanished was that they come from me being the one who's spinning. So I've had a whole week to stew on that, and I've come back with 2 complaints, and I want both of them taken seriously as forces because I have felt them in my own body.
I did say all of that, and I meant every word. I've been looking forward to this one all week. So, lodge your complaints properly and put me right there in the scene with you. Start with the first.
The merry-go-round. The playground one, the flat spinning disc with the bars you cling to. Somebody gets it going fast, really fast, the way you weren't supposed to, and you're hanging off the outer rail, and there is a force, a hard shove outward, like a hand planted flat in the small of your back throwing you off the edge into the grass. Everybody has felt it. You lean out against that rail and it presses back into you the whole time the thing is whipping around. That is a force. It is pushing me out. Complaint 1.
I know the shove you mean. I can feel it in my own back just hearing you describe it. Hold on to that one. Don't let go of the rail yet. Give me the second.
The second one's colder, more surgical. Picture a turntable, a big flat disc spinning smoothly, and I roll a ball straight across the middle of it. Not curved, dead straight, aimed right across. And the ball curves. It swings off to the side as it crosses, carving a bend into its path, as if some invisible hand reached in and swatted it sideways halfway over. Nobody touched it, nobody's near it, so whose hand? 2 puzzles, the fling that mashes me to the rail and the hand that swats the ball. Both real, both forces, defend the world.
Here's what I'll do instead of defending it. I'll grant you every single thing you felt. The shove, the swat, the bruise on your ribs from the rail. All of it, real. And then I'm going to walk you around to one other seat, one other place to stand and watch from. And from that seat, both of those forces will not merely get smaller. They'll be gone. Not there at all. 0. And here's the strange part I want you braced for. You won't have to unfeel a single thing. The shove stays as real to your body as it is right now. All that changes is who, or what, you're allowed to blame for it.
No, see, that's the move I won't let you make. Don't you dare tell me the fling isn't real. I have leaned my whole weight out against that rail. You cannot stand there and calmly tell a man that the thing crushing his ribs is a rumor. I felt it this morning just remembering it.
I'm not going to tell you it isn't real. I'm going to tell you it isn't there. And it took me a long while to learn that those are 2 completely different sentences. That a thing can be real in every bruise it leaves and still have nobody, nothing, no hand anywhere behind it. The whole night lives in the gap between not real and not there. But I can't pry that gap open from up on the spinning platform. First, I have to take you back to solid ground, back to the very first night of all this.
The first night, the clockwork, the book on the table, left alone, nobody touching it, it sits there. Or if it's already sliding on perfect ice, it slides on forever, straight and even. That was the whole first law. A thing left alone keeps doing what it was doing, and you made a great fuss, I remember, about needing the right place to stand before you were even allowed to say it.
I made a fuss because everything leans on it. That steady spot has a proper name, an inertial frame, but the plain meaning is all you need. It's a place to watch from where a thing with no push on it goes straight or stays put, where the laws come out clean. And here's the trap the whole night hangs on, so let me spring it now. Standing on the spinning merry-go-round, you are not standing on steady ground. It is not one of the honest places to watch from.
Well, hang on, why not? A merry-go-round going round at a nice, constant rate, not speeding up, not slowing down, just turning smoothly. That feels like about the calmest, steadiest thing there is. It's not lurching, it's not jolting, nothing's changing. Where's the crime?
The crime is that it's turning at all. And here's the piece that catches everyone flat-footed. Turning is accelerating, even at a dead constant rate. A merry-go-round spinning smoothly, never once changing its speed, is accelerating every single instant it turns.
No, that's a cheat. That's you playing games with a word to win. Accelerating means speeding up. My car accelerates when I push the pedal and the number climbs, and it slows when I brake. And in between, cruising steady on the motorway, it's doing neither. A thing going round at an even rate is the very picture of neither. No faster, no slower, no lurch. That's the opposite of accelerating. You're bending the word.
It's the everyday word that's too narrow, not mine that's bent. Accelerating means changing your motion, and your motion isn't only how fast, it's also which way. It's got a direction baked into it.
A direction. All right, walk me around that circle with it because my speed still isn't budging a hair, and I want to see where this change is hiding.
Now walk yourself around that circle. Your speed can be rock steady the whole way, never wavering by a hair, but which way you're heading is being bent, continuously, every instant around the bend. This breath you're aimed one way, the next breath a little different, the breath after that different again. Your direction is being changed the entire time, and changing your motion, even only its direction, is what accelerating means.
So a merry-go-round at a constant spin is, in the eyes of the law, a thing that's accelerating forever and never actually getting anywhere. It's pouring acceleration into turning in place and arriving nowhere.
Forever accelerating and never arriving. And that's exactly why it's no place to keep honest books. Watch what goes wrong. On steady ground, the rule was clean. A thing with no push on it sits still or coasts straight. Now climb onto the spinning disc and try to run that same rule. Nail a puck down on the boards, no push on it at all, and let it go. On steady ground, it would just sit there. On the disc,
it slides. It's got to. If the boards are spinning and the puck suddenly cut loose, it goes skating off across the disc with nothing whatsoever touching it. It drifts all by itself.
Skating off with nothing touching it. Which means, on the spinning disc, the first law looks broken. A thing with no push on it does not sit still. It drifts, it veers, it curves away, all on its own, no hand anywhere on it. So now you've got a choice, and it's the fork the whole subject turns on. Choice 1 is tidy. Admit the disc is no place to keep the books. Climb off, go back to steady ground, do all your physics from there.
And you've got that look, which means there's a choice 2, and it's the one you actually care about.
Choice 2 matters because sometimes you can't climb off. Sometimes you live on the platform. You were born on it, you'll die on it, it's the only ground you've got. So instead of leaving, you patch the books. Every time something drifts with no push, you refuse to accept no push. You invent a push to explain it, and you write that force in, by hand, to make the drift add up.
So I lie to the ledger. I write down a shove that never happened, so the sums come out even.
You write in the missing shove, that's it. And those invented, written-in forces, the ones you add only to make the bookkeeping close on a spinning platform, those are the costume forces, the fictitious forces, the forces that aren't there.
But that's the part my body won't sign off on. You keep saying invented, written in, bookkeeping. Invented forces that flatten me against a rail. A made-up number in a ledger does not leave a bruise. You cannot fake force a man onto the grass. Both of those can't be true at once.
And that's the tension I won't smooth over for you, because it's the real thing. Both are true at the same time. They are bookkeeping entries. You add them only because you dug in and refused to leave the spinning platform. and you feel them in your gut, and they will genuinely put you on the floor. A written-in force with a very real bruise. Making those two sit together in one head is the whole of what we're doing tonight. So let's take your fling first, and do the thing physics always does when a platform starts lying to you. Let's step off it.
Step off the merry-go-round. Fine, I'm off it, standing on the grass, watching myself go round on the thing like an idiot. Now, what do you want me to look at?
I want you to watch your own body go round, and ask the one question you never ask because it feels too obvious. Why is it going round in a circle at all? What does your body, left entirely to itself, actually want to do?
Left to itself, it wants to coast in a straight line. That's the first law again. No push, straight line. So my body, if nothing at all were holding it, would go straight.
Straight, and pay attention to which straight. Not straight around the curve, there's no such thing. Straight off along a tangent, a dead straight line flying away from the circle, off toward the grass. That's what your inertia is trying to do every instant. Leave in a straight line. But you don't leave. You keep going round. So something is bending that straight line wish into a curve, pulling you off the tangent and in toward the center. Now, what is actually touching you?
The rail I'm gripping, the seat, the floor under my shoes, gripping the soles. All of it holding on to me, keeping me on.
All of it pulling you inward, toward the middle. And that is the only real force in the entire picture, an inward pull, bending your straight-line body into a circle so it doesn't fly off. It's even got a name, the plain, honest inward pull. Centripetal, which means center-seeking. Every real hand on you is one of its agents. Rail, seat, the friction under your shoes, all of them tugging you toward the middle.
Fine, inward. I'll grant you inward. Every one of those hands hauling me toward the center. But that is not the force I came in complaining about. Where's my outward one?
But look what that leaves out. From out here on the grass, watching, there is no outward force anywhere. None. Nothing is pulling you toward the rim. There's an inward pull, and there's your own stubborn wish to go straight. That's the whole cast.
No, hold on, you've turned it inside out. I am being flung out. I can feel the outward. It's the most vivid thing in the whole ride. And you're telling me the only force in the business points in? Then explain the rail. Explain why I get mashed against the outer rail and not the inner one. If everything's pulling me inward, I should be piled up at the center pole, hugging the spindle. I'm not. I'm crushed against the outside, every single time, hard enough to bruise. Explain that.
The rail is the hero of the story, and it's about to hand you the whole thing. Here's what your body's doing. Trying to fly off straight, along the tangent, every instant. But straight, next to a circle that keeps curving away underneath it, carries you toward the outer edge. The straight line and the bending circle peel apart, and the gap between them opens outward.
So the straight line I want and the circle I'm on keep peeling apart, and the daylight between them grows outward, toward the rail.
Toward the rail. So your body, faithfully going straight, drifts out until it fetches up against the outer rail. And the rail stops it and shoves it back inward, hard, to force it to keep going round instead of sailing off into the grass. What you feel as a hand in your back flinging you into the rail is the rail, in front of you, shoving back into you the whole time.
Hold on. So the hand in the small of my back, the one I've felt my whole life, dead certain it was there. There's nothing behind me at all. It's the rail in front of me, pushing the opposite way, into me. I have been feeling a shove and getting the direction of it backwards for 30 years. I've been billing the wrong side of my own body.
Everyone bills the wrong side. Try it right now against a wall. Put your palm flat on it and lean your weight in. The harder you lean, the harder it presses back on your hand. Real pressure right there in your palm. but nothing is sucking your hand toward the wall from the far side.
Sure, the harder I lean, the harder it presses back. But nobody would say the wall is reaching out and sucking my hand toward it.
Nobody would, and nothing is. You're pushing on it, it's pushing back, and that's the whole of it. On the merry-go-round, your body is the hand and the rail is the wall. You press on the rail, not because anything shoves you out into it, but because you're forever trying to leave in a straight line, and the rail is forever hauling you back. The pressure in your ribs is real. The bruise is real. The outward force is not.
All right, I need a second with that, honestly. It's a small vertigo, the floor tilting a little under me. But then answer me this. What is the thing I've called centrifugal my whole life? Because I did not make that word up this morning. People say it. It's on the tip of everyone's tongue. If there's no outward force, what have we all been naming all this time?
Now climb back onto the disc, and I'll show you where the word is born. Get back on, grip the rail, spin. From the seat, do the books over again, but from here. From the seat, are you going round in a circle?
No, from the seat I'm sitting there, pressed against the rail, but sitting. The disc and I are turning together, so relative to my own seat, I'm not moving at all. I'm stationary. I'm being crushed sideways while sitting perfectly still.
Stationary. And here's Newton's honest rule, the one you get to keep no matter where you sit. If a thing is sitting still, not accelerating, then the forces on it must balance out to nothing.
Right. Sitting still means the shoves on me cancel. So the inward rail has to be matched by something outward, or I'd be sliding inward, not sitting.
There's the trap, in your own mouth. So, you're sitting still against the rail, you can plainly feel the rail pushing you inward, and you're not sliding inward. For the books to close, for sitting still to come out right, you must invent an equal push the other way. Outward. You write it in, by hand, to balance the rail. And that invented outward push, the entry you add so the ledger closes, that is the centrifugal force. That's where the word is born. It's the patch.
So centrifugal is the patch. It's the made-up outward force I'm forced to write into the ledger, precisely because I've decided to call myself stationary. When out on the grass, we could both plainly see I was being swung round in a circle the whole time.
It's what your straight-line inertia looks like once you've climbed onto the spinning seat and declared yourself to be sitting still. Real in what it does. It's why you have to grip the rail, why you're pressed and bruised. Absent as a thing, no hand, no source, and no partner.
That word, partner, you said it on purpose. That means something specific from the early nights.
The reaction partner. First night, the last of Newton's laws. Every real push comes in a matched pair. You push on the wall pushes back on you, equal and opposite. The rail pushes you inward, and you push the rail outward. The two ends of one handshake.
So every real push is a handshake, two hands, and I can always hunt down the second one.
Always. A real force always has another end, another body it's shaking hands with, and you can always find it. Always point at it. So go looking for the other end of the centrifugal force. It's supposedly pushing you outward, so what is it pushing back against? Where's the body on the far end of that handshake?
There isn't one. There's nobody on the other end. It's pushing me out toward the rim and shoving back against nothing. Empty air. There's no hand out there to shake.
Nothing. No partner anywhere. And that missing partner is the dead giveaway. Every real force in the world has its other hand. You can always find who's shaking. The centrifugal force shakes hands with no one. And that's precisely how you know it was written into the ledger by you, to balance the books, and not handed to you by the world.
So let me get this completely straight. A force flattens me against a rail. I've got the sore ribs to prove it. Physical evidence, real damage. And when I go looking for who's responsible, who to bill, who to sue, who exerted this thing on me, there is nobody there at all. no hand, no partner, no forwarding address. I have been assaulted by a force that, it turns out, nobody exerted. Who do I invoice?
Nobody. You invoice your own inertia, and inertia doesn't answer the mail.
So there's no one to sue, nobody did it.
No suspect anywhere. Deeply unsatisfying, I know. But here's the part that ought to settle you rather than rattle you. Both stories, the one from the grass and the one from the seat, agree right down to the last hair. From the grass, a real inward pull bends your straight body into a circle, and there's no outward force at all. From the seat, a real inward push and an invented outward push balance out, and you sit still. Different words, same you, same rail, same circle, same sore ribs, same numbers falling out the far end. Neither story is wrong, neither is truer than the other. One of them merely needed a costume force stitched in to make its books close.
Okay, that's the fling handled. Inertia in a borrowed coat. No outward hand, nobody to bill. But that was the sitting one. Me, planted on the platform, and it squeezes me out. My second complaint was a different animal. The ball rolling across the turntable. That wasn't about sitting still and being squeezed. That was something reaching in and steering a thing that was already moving. That feels like a whole other ghost.
You've put your finger right on the seam between them, and they are two different ghosts. The first one, the fling, centrifugal, leans on everything on the platform, whether it's moving or sitting stone still, a nailed-down puck or a racing ball, and it always points the same way. Straight out from the center, patient and indiscriminate.
So the fling doesn't care whether I'm moving or frozen solid. It leans on everything alike, always straight out. That half I've got now.
And the second ghost is fussier. It won't so much as glance at a thing that's sitting still. It only bothers things that are already moving across the platform, and it never pushes them out or in, it shoves them sideways. Square across whatever direction they're traveling. Sit still, and it doesn't even know you're there. Start moving, and it reaches in.
Two different ghosts, then. Give me the second one as a picture I can stand inside, the way you gave me the grass.
Back to your turntable, and we do the same rescue. Step off, watch from the still ground, up on the ceiling looking down. You roll the ball dead straight across the spinning disc. From up there, off the platform, out on honest ground, what does the ball actually do?
From off the platform, it goes straight. There's nothing real pushing it sideways once it's rolling. The disc's spinning, but the ball isn't glued to the disc. So it rolls straight across in a clean, straight line. Boring. It goes exactly where I aimed it. No drama at all.
Dead straight, cleanest roll in the world. But while it's crossing, the disc is turning underneath it. You aimed at a painted spot on the far rim, and by the time the ball rolls over to where that spot was, the turning has carried the spot around, swung it off somewhere else.
So the ball never really misses. It lands right where the target used to be. It's the target that wandered off.
The ball went straight. The floor slid around beneath it. So now, ride the disc. Sit on the turntable, turning with the paint, and watch that same ball. It does not arrive where you aimed. It curves off to the side, carving a bend across the boards, chasing a target that keeps sliding away, as if a hand swatted it. No hand. The ball went straight, and your floor turned out from under it while it crossed.
So it's the identical swindle as the fling, wearing a different suit. The real motion is a boring straight line, and the force is only there because I'm riding a floor that quietly spun while the ball was in transit, so a straight line looks bent from where I'm sitting.
The identical swindle in a second suit. And now let me hand you another way to see it. One you can feel in your own legs because it makes the sidewaysness of this ghost plain. Get on a big merry-go-round, walk to the dead center, right onto the spindle, and stand there. At the center, you're barely being carried sideways at all. You're on the still axis, turning on the spot, going nowhere.
Right. Dead center. I'm barely moving sideways at all, pivoting on the spot like the hub of a wheel.
Like the hub. But the rim is racing. Same turn, much bigger circle, so the outer edge is sweeping sideways at a real clip, a proper run. Now walk yourself straight out there, from the slow middle to the fast edge.
So, as I walk out, I'm stepping onto floor that's sweeping sideways, faster and faster the farther I go. And I'm still only carrying the little sideways speed I had back near the middle. My body kept the slow speed. So I arrive at the fast floor, moving too slowly sideways to keep up with it.
Too slow for the floor you're arriving on.
So I don't get pushed, I get left behind. The floor sprints out from under me sideways while I keep my slow old pace.
Left behind, which looks the same as pushed. So the floor goes rushing ahead of you sideways and you lag behind it. And from up on the platform, that looks like you're being shoved the other way, sideways, right off your straight march to the rim. Nobody pushed you. You just carried your slow inner speed out to where the floor moves fast, and the mismatch shows up as a sideways veer. Walk back inward and it flips clean around. Now you're carrying too much sideways speed for the slow inner floor, so you overrun it and you veer off the other way.
And nobody laid a finger on me either time. I veered because I brought the wrong sideways speed to a new stretch of floor. That is a genuinely sneaky little ghost. It's not squeezing me, it's tripping me sideways every time I try to actually go somewhere.
That sneaky one has a name too. The Coriolis force, after the man who first wrote it down. Same species as the fling. A costume force, your own inertia seen from a turning seat. No hand behind it, no partner on the far end. But where the fling squeezes everything straight outward, this one only touches things that are moving across the frame, and it only ever pushes them sideways. Square across their path, never along it.
Right, let me hold the two of them apart in my head, because they badly want to smear together. So, one of them acts on me for simply being there, and the other acts on me only for going somewhere. Standing still, only the fling has me. The moment I move, the second one wakes up and starts shoving me sideways. Have I got the two of them separated?
You have. The fling, centrifugal, leans on everything, moving or sitting stone still, always straight out from the center. Coriolis is choosier. Nothing while you sit still, and the instant you move, a shove square across your motion. Never along it, always across. One for being there, one for going somewhere.
And which way across? Left or right? Does this Coriolis thing actually pick a side, or is it sideways? Who knows? Good luck.
It picks a side, firmly, and the side depends on which half of the world you're standing on.
So it isn't even the same everywhere. The direction flips depending on where I happen to be standing.
It flips between the halves. Take the whole turning planet as your platform now. Up in the northern hemisphere, anything moving gets nudged to its right. Lay your body along the way you're heading, and the shove comes in steady from the left, curving you off to the right, whichever way you point. Down in the southern hemisphere, it all mirrors over. The very same motion gets nudged to the left instead. And right on the equator, in the belt of the middle, the two halves habits cancel, and it fades away to nothing for things moving along the ground.
And how hard is the shove? Does that depend on anything I could feel?
It grows with two things: how fast you're moving and how fast the whole platform is turning. Twice as fast across the floor, twice the sideways nudge. Take the right and left of it as a plain fact of the world. The full why of which side is a longer walk than we need tonight, and it wouldn't buy you anything the fact doesn't already give you.
Hold on though, the planet. We're all standing on a spinning platform right now, aren't we? The whole ground turning round once a day, and none of us feeling a scrap of it. So this Coriolis ghost isn't a merry-go-round toy, it's loose in the actual world, steering things that are really moving. Where does it show up? Because Oh, oh, I've got one. I know this one and I'm proud of it.
Go on then. You've got the look of a man about to hand me a bill. Tell me where you've met the Coriolis force out in the wild.
The drain. The bathtub, the sink, the toilet. The water spirals down the plug hole, one way up here in the northern hemisphere and the other way round down in the southern. And it's Coriolis. It's the spinning planet reaching into the basin and steering the swirl down the hole. I have watched people demonstrate it. I have confidently explained it at parties. Please, for once tonight, tell me I've got one right.
Oh, I am sorry. No, that one is a beautiful, popular, absolutely wall-to-wall myth, and it dies right here on the table tonight. The Coriolis nudge is real, but on the scale of a sink, it is so unspeakably tiny, so utterly feeble, that it's completely drowned out. Drowned by the shape of the basin. Drowned by which way the water was already sloshing when you pulled the plug. Drowned by the swirl off the taps, by the last hand that stirred it, by the shape of the hole itself. Any one of those bullies flattens the little Coriolis whisper into total silence. The planet's voice is really in there. It's simply the faintest one in a shouting room.
But I have watched my own sink go the same way every single time, with my own eyes.
Of course you have. Your sink has one fixed shape, and you fill it the same way every day, so it favours the same direction every day. Its own plumbing votes, and it votes the same way each time, and the turning of the entire planet doesn't get a single word in edgewise. Plumb two identical sinks side by side, on the same street, in the same house, and they'll happily spiral opposite ways, decided by nothing grander than how each one happened to get filled.
So my party trick was a lie the whole time. Wonderful. But you keep insisting the nudge is real. If it can't even steer a plug hole, where does the thing ever actually win?
Here's what the myth is stealing credit from, and it's far grander than any plug hole. Coriolis is real. It simply needs size, and it needs time to add up to anything.
So the effect was never fake. A sink is simply too small and too quick to let the nudge build into anything you'd notice.
Too small, too quick. Give it something hundreds of miles across, turning over hours and days, and that tiny sideways nudge, applied and applied and applied to every moving parcel of air without a break, finally wins. And finally wins is a storm. It's the whole spiral of a hurricane, the great slow wheel of a cyclone, the curl of the winds on a weather map, the long turning of the ocean currents. That is Coriolis, steering air and water sideways across a turning world until the whole vast system winds itself up into a spin. And because the nudge flips sides between the two halves of the planet, the great storms wheel one way up north and the mirror way down south. Seen from far overhead, a hurricane is a slow galaxy of cloud, a whole sea of air wheeling about one calm eye, and every scrap of that spin was fed to it, mile by patient mile, by the same sideways nudge you couldn't find in a teaspoon.
So I had the right ghost, and wildly, embarrassingly, the wrong crime scene. It's not in my bathtub at all, it's in the sky. Too weak by miles to steer a plug hole, strong enough to spin a hurricane, because the hurricane hands it the room and the hours. The plug hole never could.
Right ghost, wrong scale. That's the whole correction. It only wins where it's given room to pile up, and a sink gives it none. A storm gives it a continent and 3 days, and it takes them, and wheels the whole thing round.
All right, that quietly rearranges the entire sky for me, but you keep saying this thing. The platform's turning and we don't feel it. The whole planet is my platform, turning under me right now, and I can't feel a scrap of it. So let me ask the greedy question. Is there any way to catch the ground turning from the inside without cheating by looking up at the stars? Some ghost I could watch red-handed and say, there, that's the planet turning, and I can see it from indoors.
There is, and it's one of the loveliest things a person can build in a shed. Hang a heavy weight on a very long wire from a very high ceiling. Pull it back, let it swing. A big, slow pendulum, swinging back and forth along one straight line, the way any pendulum swings. And set a little tray of sand underneath it so the tip of the weight scratches its line into the sand on every pass. Back and forth, drawing the same line over and over.
Fine. A heavy weight on a long wire swinging back and forth, scratching one straight line into a tray of sand, over and over. I'm watching it. I'll be honest, it isn't exactly gripping cinema. What am I waiting for?
Go away, live your life. Come back in an hour. When you come back, the line in the sand has turned.
Turned. The line I watched scratch itself back and forth in one fixed groove is pointing a different way now, all on its own.
A different way, and more so the longer you leave it. Come back an hour after that, and it's turned further. And further again the hour after that. The whole plane of the swing has slowly, steadily wheeled around, and where there was one lonely line, there's now a spreading fan of them, scratched into the sand like the spokes of some very slow, very patient clock. And nobody touched it. Nobody twisted the wire, nobody nudged the weight, no draft leaned on it. It quietly swept itself around the compass, a little more every hour, all on its own.
So something's dragging the swing round. It has to be. The air in the room, some slow draft pushing it round? Or the wire, a twist winding up in the wire as it hangs, slowly turning the whole business.
Nothing's dragging the swing. Nothing at all. The swing is the one faithful thing in the whole building. Left to itself, a pendulum keeps swinging in a fixed plane. It holds to the same line in space, faithfully, the way inertia keeps anything doing what it was already doing.
So the swing is keeping faith with its straight line, same as the puck, same as the rolling ball. It's the loyal one in the room.
The loyal one. So if the swing isn't the thing that's turning, and it isn't, then something else in that room must be. And it's you. The floor is. The tray of sand is. The whole building, the whole ground, the whole planet is slowly turning underneath the swinging weight. And the weight, hanging free on its long wire, simply does not come along for the ride. So the sand turns under the line, and from where you stand, it looks for all the world like the line is wheeling around, when the truth is, the line is holding dead still, and the floor beneath it is what's quietly coming round.
Oh, that's beautiful and slightly horrifying. The pendulum is holding still, and I'm the one turning. Me and the whole room and the whole planet. And that fan of lines scratched in the sand is the turning of the entire world, written down on the floor where I can stand and watch it happen. I don't have to look at a single star. The ground just confesses.
The ground confesses, in a shed, over a tray of sand. That swinging weight has a name, the Foucault pendulum. And it does one thing more. It tells you whereabouts on the world you're standing.
Hang on. The same swinging weight on the same wire tells me where on the planet I am.
How fast the line wheels around depends on how far up the planet you've hung it. Hang it right at the top of the world, at a pole, and the swing sweeps all the way round in the fullest, cleanest turn. Up there the floor is turning most completely beneath it.
Because right at the top, the ground is wheeling flat underneath the swing, wholesale, like a record turning under a needle.
Like a record under a needle. Now carry the very same pendulum down to the equator, hang it at the belt of the world, and the wheeling slows and dies. Right on the equator, the plane of the swing doesn't turn a hair. And everywhere between the two, it's somewhere in between, keyed smoothly to how far up you are. Set by the sign of your latitude, fastest at the poles, fading to nothing at the middle. Take that as a plain fact of it, not something we'll grind out tonight.
So the same weight on the same wire, hung at the top of the world, sweeps right the way round. And hung at the belt of the world, doesn't budge a hair. And every porch in between gets its own private rate, keyed to how far up it sits. One swinging weight, and it reads out both things at once, that the planet turns and roughly where on it you happen to be standing.
One weight on a wire, reading the turn of a whole world off a tray of sand. No telescope, no window, never once leaving the room. And notice it's the same ghost the whole way down. The costume force that curled the hurricane is the very one wheeling this line in the sand. Inertia keeping faith with a straight swing, while the ground it's scratched into turns quietly away underneath.
All right, you've done this same trick now, 4 times? The fling, the swatted ball, the hurricane, the swing in the sand. Every single time it's the same unmasking. The platform's turning, you're not, and the force is you refusing to admit which one of you is spinning. So let me push you with the greediest version of the question. Is there a ghost I could never catch this way? A costume force I couldn't strip off by stepping outside because there's no outside to step to?
Now you're leaning on the one door I most wanted you to lean on. Let me put you in a box. A sealed room. No windows, no way to see out, no way to peek. You wake on the floor of it, pressed down with your ordinary familiar weight. Feet planted, everything as usual. And there's a ball in your hand. You open your hand and the ball drops to the floor, the way balls do. Now, tell me where you are.
I'm in a room, on the ground, on the planet. That's gravity. The ball fell because things fall, because the planet's pulling it down. That's the easiest question you've asked me all night, which makes me deeply suspicious of it.
You should be suspicious. Because here's the other possibility. The box is nowhere near any planet. It's way out in the empty, dark, deep space. No gravity anywhere for a very long way in any direction. And underneath the box there's a great engine, firing, driving the whole box upward, faster and faster, pushing the floor up hard against the soles of your feet.
So the pressing in my feet isn't weight at all. It's the floor rising up to meet me, the way a lift shoves your soles the instant it starts to climb.
The very same shove, and out there it never stops. That's why you feel pressed down. Not gravity, only a floor accelerating up into you. And when you open your hand, the ball, with nothing holding it anymore, simply hangs there in space, still. But the floor is rushing up toward it, so the floor comes up and meets the ball. From inside, with no window, what you see is the ball dropping to the floor. Feet pressed down, ball falls at your feet. The same, in every last detail, as the room on the ground.
Wait. So pressed to the floor by a planet and pressed to the floor by a rocket, from inside the sealed box, they're the same. The weight in my feet, the ball dropping. Every test I could run comes out identical either way.
Every test you can run without opening a window. The pull of an entire planet and the shove of an accelerating floor. One of them is the realest, most familiar force we've got. The other is a pure costume force, inertia again, in a box that's speeding up, the floor of the rocket writ large. And inside that box there is no experiment, none you could ever devise, that tells the two of them apart. They're not similar. From in there, they are identical.
But one of them is real gravity, and the other is a made-up bookkeeping ghost, the same kind of ghost as the fling and the swatted ball. And you're telling me they wear the same face, the realest force there is, and a pure fiction, wearing the exact same face, and I cannot tell which one is holding me down.
And that thought, that a real force and a costume force could be flatly indistinguishable from the inside, is the one a young Einstein called the happiest thought of his life. Because turn it over in your hand. All night we've said the same thing. A costume force is the telltale sign that you're really on a platform that's secretly accelerating, turning, rushing, speeding up, something. So if gravity is wearing a costume force's exact face, indistinguishable from it, then maybe gravity is one. Maybe when you fall, nothing is pulling you at all. Maybe you're coasting, going straight and free and honest, no force on you, and it's the ground under your feet that's accelerating up into you, the floor of the rocket box made enormous. Maybe gravity is the costume force of a platform you can never, ever step off.
That is a vertiginous thing to hand a person. But hold on, let me fight it, the way I've fought everything tonight. Surely I can catch it out, same as always. With the fling, I stepped off the merry-go-round and the ghost vanished. So why can't I step off this platform too and see the honest truth underneath?
2 reasons. There's no off to step to, and the disguise is only flawless in the small. In a little box, over a little while, gravity and acceleration are a perfect match, seamless. But blow the box up huge, make it a room the size of a country, and gravity gives itself away. A real planet pulls everything toward its center. So 2 balls dropped far apart on that enormous floor fall along very slightly aimed-in paths, each leaning a hair toward the planet's center, toward each other.
2 balls leaning toward each other. Keep going.
The rocket's floor, by contrast, drives everything straight up, dead parallel. Spread out wide enough, or watch closely enough for long enough, and the seam shows.
So the match is only local, perfect in a small box, here and now, and it frays if you go big or watch long enough. That's a much smaller claim than gravity is fake.
A far smaller claim. It's a local thing, perfect in the small, right here, right now, in one modest box. That's a doorway, not a proof.
A doorway, not the flat claim that gravity is fake, more the suspicion that it might be the same species as the fling, if a person had the nerve to follow it all the way.
That's the nerve it took. Walking all the way through it, building an entire theory of gravity as the shape of a platform you ride and can't get off. That's a heavier night than this one, and Einstein spent years on the far side of that door. It's the sort of match that ought to feel like a coincidence and flatly refuses to. Too perfect, too complete to be an accident. This is a crack of light, and a whole room beyond it we are very deliberately not walking into.
But that's a huge leap, and you're sliding right past it. Looks identical from inside a small box is a long way from gravity is the same kind of ghost as the fling. A forgery can be flawless and still be a forgery. Why should a resemblance, however perfect, be the thing you'd build a whole new world on?
You're right to plant your feet. That leap is exactly the one we are not making tonight. All I'm putting in your hand is the tremor of it. That the ghost forces we spent the whole night unmasking, and the most familiar real force there is, the one holding you in your chair this second, feel completely identical from inside the box. Whether that resemblance is a coincidence or the deepest clue in physics, that's a door for another year.
Then let me try to gather up the whole night into one piece before you open any more doors, because something's rearranged itself all the way through, and I want to say it back and see if I've got it whole. Here's what I've got. If I stand on steady ground, that honest place from the very first night, the world is clean. Things left alone go straight. Every push has a hand behind it, and a partner in front, another hand shaking back. No mysteries, no ghosts, but the moment I do my physics from a spinning seat, a merry-go-round, a turntable, a whole turning planet, the books stop closing. Things drift with no push, they veer with no hand. So I patch the books. I write forces in, by hand, to cover the drift. The fling that mashes me to the rail, the sideways swat that curls a hurricane, the slow wheel of a swing scratching its fan in the sand. Every one of them is me, writing a force into the ledger to account for the one fact I kept refusing to admit, that I was the one turning all along. They're real in every bruise they leave, and they have no hand, no source, no partner anywhere to be found, because nobody's exerting them. They're what my own straight-line inertia looks like, described from a seat that's going round in a circle.
And both sets of books balance. Stand off the platform, and there are no ghost forces at all, only inertia and a few plain inward pulls doing honest work. Sit on the platform and the ghosts appear, and everything still comes out right, bruise for bruise, number for number, path for path. Neither seat is lying. The forces that aren't there are as real as the seat you chose to watch from, and not one hair realer than that.
And here's what I notice, standing back from the whole thing. We've spent this entire series talking about forces, pushes, pulls, twists, tugs. Tonight it was ghost pushes I have to invent by hand every time I sit somewhere crooked. It's starting to feel like an awful lot of labour for one idea.
Frame by frame, patch by patch. And it works. It's carried us the whole way. But every time you change seats, you redraw all the forces from scratch, invent fresh ghosts, close the books over again. It's enough to make a person wonder whether force was ever really the right thing to build the whole world on at all.
That's the thought I keep circling.
That's the exact thought I want you carrying out the door. So here's the door for next time, and it's a strange one. There is a way to do all of mechanics. Every orbit, every pendulum, every top and turntable of this whole series, without ever drawing a single force. Not a real one from the ground, not a ghost one from the seat. No forces at all. Just one number about the whole journey, start to finish, and a single quiet rule that the true path obeys, out of all the paths it could have taken.
No forces at all. After a whole season of me finally learning to see them properly, even learning to see the ones that aren't there, you're going to walk in next time and tell me I can put the entire idea down.
Put them down, just for a night. Not because force is wrong, it's carried us honestly this whole way, but because there's a higher window to watch the same world from. One where the forces, real and costume alike, stop being the actors on the stage and become something that falls out at the very end, almost as an afterthought. We've spent 8 nights learning to push and pull the world into moving. Next time, we set our hands in our laps and we watch it choose.
You're doing the thing again. The door, the dark, that look you get, right before you stride through it and leave me squinting after you into the black.
I am. But you get the last word tonight. You always do at the door. So hand it to me. What's the image? What are you carrying out of this room?
The merry-go-round. Me, flattened against the outer rail, dead certain there was a hand in the small of my back throwing me off the edge. And there was no hand. There was never a hand. There was only me, trying to fly off straight the way anything left alone flies off straight, and the rail hauling me back into the circle, and my own turning quietly, dressing all of that up as a shove from nowhere. That's the one I'm keeping, because the fling, and the ball that curved across the turntable, and the hurricane wheeling over the ocean, and the pendulum drawing its slow fan in the sand. And maybe, if Einstein turns out to be right, even the plain old weight that's holding me down in this chair, every last one of them is the same ghost in different clothes. Inertia, seen from a seat that's going round. So the next time I feel a force with no hand behind it, no partner, no address, nobody to bill, I'm not going to ask who's pushing me. I'm going to ask the better question, the one you handed me tonight. Not what's shoving me, but which way am I the one that's turning?